Ever since the announcement of Sony's Project Q during their 2023 showcase, everybody's been asking the same question. Who is this for? And now I officially have that answer for you. It's for me and other people like me. Let me explain. Now, Sony's Project Q has been long rumored for quite some time. Now, I think everybody got a little bit too ahead of themselves thinking we were going to get the PSP successor, like the PSP 2, the PS Vita 2. So when it was announced that the Project Q was a streaming device meant to stream your PS5 games from your console over Wi-Fi to the device, that disappointed a lot of people. Now, before we get into why it didn't disappoint me and kind of where I see the future of this, let me give you a little more details about Project Q. Sony's Project Q is a handheld device with an LCD 8-inch screen running at 1080p 60 frames per second. This device will be using both the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback that you find in every single DualSense controller currently on the market for the PS5. Now, during this announcement, they stated that it's meant for playing games installed on your PS5 and streamed over Wi-Fi. They also announced the first official wireless earbuds offering lossless audio on PS5 and PC, but we'll talk about that later and how I believe those could be a match made in heaven. As of now, that's all the details that we have. No specific hardware specs about the handheld. So while they've stated that every single button you find on the PS5 controller will be on the new Project Q, they haven't addressed the fact that there's no touch bar. Obviously, Sony first-party games are the ones who use that touch bar the most, so I'm wondering, is the screen a touch screen? So then instead of using a bar, you will just tap the touch screen or slide the touch screen? We don't know yet, because they haven't technically stated if that screen is touch screen or not. In all honesty, I hope it's not a touchscreen because we have enough touchscreens in our life. Just give me a beautiful looking screen that I can play the game on. I don't need to touch it.
Touch. Don't touch.
Now, I know you're asking yourself, Tito, why is it made for you and others like you? Explain yourself. Okay, I will. So the reasoning behind many people feeling like, why are they making this product and who is this for, is specifically because there's a lot of controllers similar to this, the Backbone. Not only does Sony have their own branded Backbone, but this is probably one of the most commonly used controllers that people put their phone into in order to play both streaming from their PlayStation 5 and their Xbox Series X. Now, I have had the Backbone since it launched, as well as I tried the Razer Kishi. I couldn't find it because after like 2 weeks of using it, the thumbstick broke. I've also tried out that whole put the little stand on the controller and have your phone up. It's a terrible experience, okay? Having the cheap little plastic thing that holds your phone up here, it just doesn't feel comfortable. I can't find it as well because my game room is a mess. But whenever you have the phone teetering on the controller the way that it does, it's not a comfortable experience. No matter every way I tried, both being in bed, both sitting up, it just doesn't feel good because the weight of your phone messing with your controller, it's not a great experience. While this is one of the best experiences I've had so far, it's still not perfect. So not only are the joysticks pretty small, similar to like a Nintendo Switch, the buttons don't have the best feedback to them, and the triggers just don't feel the greatest.
That's what she said.
And due to its size compared to a normal controller, your hand will start to get a little bit of fatigue because it doesn't have as much to grip onto.
That's what she said.
So the thought of having a handheld that feels exactly like this in my hands sounds amazing to me. Not only the fact that it's going to feel great because it's just like the PS5 DualSense controller that I love already, but the fact that it has the built-in haptics and the adaptive triggers, that's something that none of those third-party things have. And honestly, I feel like Sony has seen a lot of people talking about their Switch and the fact that they barely play it docked. People who own a Switch, including myself, I mainly play it handheld, and guess what? A lot of that handheld is done in my house, in bed, on the couch, wherever it may be. So they see that people do enjoy that experience, so I think that's why they wanted to get into this market. Now, obviously, quality is going to depend on your internet, unfortunately, so for some, it may not be a great experience. But for those that do have decent internet, the experience is not only going to be good, but it's going to continue to get better. And for me specifically, I'm a dad with 2 kids.
Kangaroo shop, kangaroo shop, kangaroo shop, kangaroo shop!
All right!
So the fact that I could be in my living room playing my PS5 while my kids are watching TV since I can't currently go up into my game room, that sounds amazing. Not only that, but thinking about being in bed where you got just a little bit of time before going to sleep and knowing that I can just go to my nightstand, grab this handheld, and boom, boot up my PS5 and play it in bed for a little bit, that sounds like an amazing experience to me. And getting back to those earbuds that I was talking about that Sony announced as well, the reason why I believe those could be a match made in heaven is imagine if you have those earbuds and the handheld both at your bedside. So you pick up your handheld, you got your earbuds, plop them in, boom, you're good to go. You got lossless audio as well as hopefully really low latency with playing the game, but only time will tell when we get that in our hands. Currently, I've been using the VR P10 headphones. Now I use these with both my Steam Deck and my Quest 2, and it's been a great experience. So having something that's specific to my PlayStation handheld sounds great to me. I'm also hoping that Sony can take the opportunity with this handheld to streamline the process. For example, right now, if you're using a Backbone or something similar, you got to pull out your phone, open this up, plug in your phone, pull up the app, load up the stuff, click your console, go to it. It's just a process and a lot of steps involved. This is where I'm hoping Sony is going to have something streamlined where if I just simply pick up my handheld, press the PlayStation button, and boom, I'm in, that's it. One button, connected, good to go. I'm hoping that is the experience. Also, another really big factor that's going to play into this handheld is the price. Now, while Sony hasn't given us any indication of how much this handheld will cost, recently during the court case of Microsoft versus the FTC for getting Activision/Blizzard, Microsoft lawyers presented a filing to the FTC that stated Sony would be releasing a handheld this year that would be under $300. So take it with a grain of salt, but I believe this handheld cannot exceed $300. Honestly, I would love to see it more in the $200 range. Also, while seeing that Sony currently has only stated this handheld is meant for streaming your PS5 games to the handheld, with seeing all the money they've been continuing to invest in the infrastructure of their cloud gaming service, I believe that that's something that's going to come to that handheld in the future. So it's going to be, once again, you can stream the games that you already have downloaded on your PS5, or you're going to be able to stream from the Sony cloud. I know that's going to come. They'd be dumb for it not to come, because I've seen some people out there saying that oh, it's only going to stream from your PS5 and never the cloud. What a waste. So that's a little bit of the reasoning behind why I'm more positive on Project Q compared to a lot of other people. I feel like I'm probably one of the only ones in the world that is, so I wanted to get my thoughts out there. But more importantly, what are your thoughts? Are you interested in the Project Q, or are you one of the people who really hated it? Or what price does it need to be in order to get you to want to purchase it? Let me know down below, and as always, I appreciate you joining me today. Have a great rest of your day.